Well, everyone, let's go and take a look at the Apple Watch Ultra 1 and see how this particular Apple Watch holds up in 2025. Now, there's some really big things to go ahead and kind of keep in mind when it comes down to this type of watch. I do think that a watch like this still is very good. It really is one of the best types of watches you can buy. And even though it's already a little bit older, I do think for the most part, Apple did a tremendous job with this type of device. And I still think it's worth buying. I still think it's worth using. But there might be some better watches for the most part. So we'll go and take a look at these throughout this whole entire video. First things first, if you do want to go ahead and pick up an Apple Watch Ultra, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Apple Watch Ultra 1. This particular watch came out back in 2022. So it is a little bit of an older type of watch. It's approaching 3 years old this year. And on the front side of this watch, you're getting a pretty big size display. So this is still the biggest sized Apple Watch that they make. So that right there is a big thing to keep in mind. If you're okay with getting a bigger sized watch, then I think you'll be okay with this. But keep in mind, not only is the screen size really big, but it's also a pretty thick watch as well. So it's completely up to you whether you like a thin watch or a big watch. If you like a thinner watch, then by all means, I think an Apple Watch, series standard ones might be better. But if not, you might be, if you like a bigger one, thicker one, then this one by all means, I think is pretty decent. Now, you're getting the standard buttons on the side. You did also get that, action button on the side of this thing as well, or like the dedicated button on the side. And that was actually a really nice thing that they actually kind of threw in here as well. So I do feel like this in and of itself is another one of those kind of nice things to have inside of this type of device as well. On the back side, you basically have your standard type of, charging area. So you can go ahead, plug this thing in the back, and you can go and charge up this thing as you normally would. So that right there is another really cool thing that you have the capability of having. And like I said, if you're going to go through and pick up a watch, it is actually really nice to be able to pick up a watch like this and get this type of capability because it is actually a really good type of watch from that particular side as well. Now, on top of that, you have the bands. And as always, I love the bands on these things because you can go ahead and interchange them out. You can mess around with them whichever way you want to. And that right there is also a really cool thing because the bands on the bigger sized Apple Watches all fit the same. So if you get the 42, 44, 45, and now these 49mm watches, they're all going to fit exactly the same, which is something I love seeing. So from that side as well, that kind of covers it up there. The biggest thing to keep in mind here though with something like an Apple Watch Ultra 1 is the fact that this type of watch still functions as a normal Apple Watch. It just is way more rugged. So if you're somebody who's outside a lot, right? If you're in, certain weather conditions or you're hiking a lot or going camping and stuff like that and you're around water all the time, this thing is IP6X certified. It gives you 100 meters of water resistance, 40 meters swim proofing. It's, compliant with a lot of these different standards. So it is a very rugged, durable watch. That right there is going to be a really big reason why I would look at something like an Apple Watch Ultra 1 and recommend people to buy it, especially if you're in rugged conditions all the time. It makes a lot of sense to go and buy something like this. Because even though this thing is more pricier, if you bang it against something a couple of times, this thing is not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to this. On the flip side though, I've owned an Apple Watch Series 4 for the last couple of years. And I haven't cracked this thing. I've scratched this thing quite a bit, but this thing is still functional and I do not baby this thing around whatsoever. So if you're worried about a watch breaking, even a standard Apple Watch, I don't think that's going to happen. But at least with this one, it's, meant to be kind of thrown around. And I love this thing and I love these watches because they do give you a lot of power, a lot of capability. They allow you to check your notifications. There's a lot of stuff going on with these type of watches that I actually love a lot. And it makes a lot of sense for me that, to recommend this type of Apple Watch to as many people out there. I still use my Apple Watch Series 4. That's a very old Apple Watch, but I still use it and I still enjoy it. With this type of Apple Watch, this is even better than that one. So I would highly recommend people to go ahead and buy this type of watch. It's going to really give you a really good experience. But keep in mind, it's not perfect. There might be some, issues you might have with it. But I would say for the most part, if you're in the market, I would pretty much highly recommend people to buy this type of watch when it comes down to it. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.